What is Helm and why is it so important when you are trying to work with Kubernetes, right? I know you might have these questions, and whenever you try to work with Kubernetes or go around tutorials and stuff, you most probably have heard about Helm, and you are made to install Helm and run your applications or build your applications using Helm. But what is really Helm and how does it support the majority part of your Kubernetes deployment structure? So in this video we are going to learn the same. So hello everyone, I am Kyle Koparkar. If you are new to this channel, I make content around DevRel, open source and CMCF ecosystem. So let's get into it. So what is Helm? It is pretty basic and one-liner definition to it. So Helm is a package manager for Kubernetes. So if you have already a background of development and have built couple of projects in maybe JavaScript or Python or Rust or any other language, you might have come across one or the other package manager. So this is similar, and this is the package manager for Kubernetes. So I understand that you might have lot of questions right now. You might know how the package managers work for other languages, but it's super hard to wrap your head around how package managers would be helpful in Kubernetes scenario. So don't worry about it. Just remember that Helm is a package manager for Kubernetes, and also Helm also works or acts as a template engine for while you're working with it. So what is template engine? If you don't know about it, it is a way to generalize your program or the file. So say suppose you have three files of similar content, just one or two property changing, so creating three files in long run is inefficient. So what you do, you create a single file with as a template, and whenever a new property come, you add it to it and you have a new file with a new purpose, right? So that's how the template works in general, and Helm acts as a templating engine for Kubernetes. Let's see that on a board. So when we talk about Helm, it is super important to understand what are the features of Helm, and understanding the features will tell us that why you should actually use Helm, right? So when we talk about Helm, there are three major features of Helm. First is package management, and charts. So if you have worked a little bit about with Kubernetes, so you might have come across charts and stuff. If you don't know anything, don't worry, we will see that anyways. Then as we said, template engine, and third one is release management. For today's video we will be focusing on first two features. The reason why I'm not doing third feature in this video is that with newer version of Helm, release management is actually not supported due to security issues. So if you are curious that why is it that, then I will link a video into the description. You can check that out so that you can understand why release management is not in a feature anymore into Helm. But these two features are really good, and we will see more into them ahead. So when we talk about Helm and other things, it is super essential that you know what is Kubernetes and all the basics about Kubernetes, because Helm is like upper layer and Helm is a tool which we use on Kubernetes. So it's really essential for you to understand what is Kubernetes, and you should have at least one application that you have built and run on Kubernetes cluster. And if you haven't yet, then check out the video in the description, or it should pop up into the information somewhere at the top. Please do check that out and come back to this video so you can understand it on a nicer level. So now we will see the first feature, that is package management, right? So now what does the package management mean, and like what is it? So let's give a heading like package management, right? Cool. So Helm helps us package our modules and distribute it to the public or private repositories. So what does that mean? Let's take an example. Let's take a super quick example. Say suppose you have a Kubernetes cluster, right? You have Kubernetes cluster which has some applications running into it. So this is say suppose front end application, and this is the back end application. They are obviously talking with each other and stuff through networking, etc. And there's a mongodb MongoDB pod as well for your backend to communicate to as a database. Yes, we have all gone through such processes of connecting front end to backend and backend to database and making a full stack application, right? So this is the pod of say suppose MongoDB that you are using as a database. So if you like as I said earlier, Kubernetes knowledge and a practice project at least is required. You will understand why I am saying that. So if so this is the Mongo project. So when you generally work with MongoDB and or database and other things, so say suppose there are files, secret files, right? Then there is config file, then there are map files, config maps, right? So there are multiple files, and then there is a actual pod file you need to create for MongoDB and stuff, all that things, right? So say suppose you have this application and you are using MongoDB as a database here. So let's take a red color to demonstrate it as a that many files are used are required to create, like, start MongoDB pod and use MongoDB pod and use MongoDB to store your data while in when your application is in Kubernetes, right? So that is done. Say suppose you have to create another project uh, which uses same MongoDB here, right? So you will have to create these four files again, four files, right? You will have to create these four files, or if you like, depending on pod and stuff, you will have to create these files again. Then again, if you have to do other things, then another project, another again these files, right? So you are able to see now how repeated this step is, right? And if you have come from any language background, then you know where I'm going right now is so this is where the package management comes into picture. So this is your application and this is the file. So what if someone package all these files and stuff, and you can just import it into your cluster, any project cluster, and now your MongoDB is set. That's it. You just have to import a package. So this is the package, MongoDB package, and you just have to import it in your cluster. This is your another project cluster, right? And now you are able to use it. You want to you implement MongoDB as a database into another cluster and project, add it to your cluster, another project, add. So you understand how easy that becomes, right? So Helm, what does Helm do? This is what Helm does. So this whatever you are seeing here is packaged as and are called as Helm charts. So these are the charts. Like, charts have many more complexity and stuff into it, and more technicality we should be discussing, but in general this is what is Helm. So when I say I want a MongoDB Helm chart, so that time I mean I want all the files and as a package about for MongoDB that I can use into my project directly, so that I don't have to create all these files and stuff and make sure every file is working, every file is correctly linked and stuff. I don't have to worry about it. I just have to import the file, import the package into my cluster, and MongoDB is running. So that's what is a package management feature for Helm. And yeah, as we said, so these are called charts. So this will be a MongoDB chart, so and I can share this chart in public repositories or private repositories, and not only MongoDB. If I have an application which you want, which I create a Helm chart or a Helm chart of, and then I can just put it into like repository like Docker, like we put our images into Docker and other people can use it. The same way we can host our Helm charts into Helm repository, and other people can use the Helm chart you created and use it into their project, so they don't have to create and implement those files again. You understand? It's that simple. So this is the package management and what Helm charts. Okay, so let's learn about the templating engine through one of my blog examples. Uh, so uh, don't worry about what the syntax is here right now. We will get it to it right now. But this is a simple pod YAML. Just think of it as simple pod YAML. And the thing is that you can like say suppose that your pod name is like my pod right now. First thing is my pod. Don't see this right now. Okay, don't see this. Don't. I will just cut it off fast. Okay, don't see this. And the container name is, say suppose my container image is your dot something docker image. Your docker image is here with some tag, say suppose 1.0, and port is say suppose 8080. So this is your file, right? A pod file. Say suppose there was another pod file, right? So there was another pod file who had same fields and same everything, but just the name was new pod, new container, new something 1.0 and 9000 maybe. Cool. This is okay, but what if there was 3 to 10 to 100 files, right? So now you will have to create the same file, same structure, and just change this name every time. Is it manageable? Obviously no. You also know that this is not at all manageable, and in long run it would be super hectic to manage and control everything. So that's where Helm comes into picture for its templating engine feature. Is now just this is the syntax, right? So you denote it with this curly bracket. You start it with this two curly brackets. Let me just change color. Okay, two curly brackets, this two curly brackets. Cool. And dot values dot, we will know more what is like values and stuff, but just remember dot values dot, and this is the like this is like values. If there are map of values, a table of values, right? And there is a table, say think of it like that. There is a value table, and here is a name, and say suppose the name of it as was my pod. Cool. So now when it goes to value, when you say value dot name, then it will simply go to values table to name table and see what is the pod name there. And now you know that you can put as many number of these names as you want in this table, and we will see how and like what is that table. It's not literally a table, but I am telling you to help you visualize it more. Cool. So you start it with curly braces and dot values dot, and this is the name where you will assign your pod names, which will keep on changing. So now for the next step, we have like containers, and now it is just that there is as a value table, as I said, and now there is another table. We are linking the container table, so whatever is for containers will go here, and again the steps kind of thing. So the container name would come here, so we don't really clash with the original name. And we have image here, we have port here as usual. And where do we store values? We store value generally into a file called values, right? So let's see how that file looks like. So if you go here, so the file will look something like, see the name, the wherever we go dot values dot name would access this, dot container dot name will access this, value dot container dot image will access this, dot value dot container dot port will access this. You understand it now, right? So now you have to just replicate this changes, and it would be applied. Now see how this is helping you as a developer. That is, say suppose you are one of your container, there are like 100 containers running with this template, and now you have to change port number for a certain uh, container, right? So where do you do that? You just go to values and to that specific name and just change it, so you don't have to really go into so much big files and stuff. You know where you can find a simple information, like changing your port here. So that's how templating engine works and looks like. Let's see how it works under the hood. We will understand the working of Helm templates through this image. This image is already there in my blog and the link will be found in the description. So if we go ahead, what is like this Helm chart? So Helm charts are like the charts and like template that we created above, and it will have all these fields and stuff, and these are the value files. So here is all, here are values, all the values. And now whenever you utilize Helm CLI, when you run say add and stuff, build a Helm chart something, we will see the commands ahead. So what it does is it takes the Helm chart, and then it takes the values, it puts the values into the chart creating a template, and then that goes ahead into the release. So this is pretty much simple. You create a template, you have values, and the engine, whatever the engine will do is engine will combine these two and push it to the release, and then everyone can use it according to like wherever we are trying to push it. Cool. So that is it. And also when I said the video will be in description, I actually have the release management feature listed into my blog, and why is it not a good like why is it not enabled in latest features, and what are the downsides in my this blog, so you can actually see it. And now let's go ahead, we will just go through the blog itself so you will understand and get a list. So here is all the list and stuff, and here is Helm, like create, install and stuff. Let's go ahead to the Helm website itself and let's see what we can do here. So Helm, this is the Helm website, helm.sh, and if you go ahead, you will find, if depending upon the your operating system, you will get instructions for your download. I'm on Mac, so I will run this command. So let's go ahead and do that. So here is my terminal, let's press the command. Okay, so now it's done, and let's go ahead and use Helm list. So Helm list, so currently my minikube cluster, I have minikube cluster running, so let me just show you minikube status. So you can see it's running, so minikube is running. If you have another cluster it will show that, but currently no Helm like application or chart is installed on my cluster, so it shows nothing. Let's try to install the Mongo Express one which we just saw, and let's go ahead. Okay, this is upgrade one, let's go ahead and install. We will have to add the repo first. Go ahead, grab this link, go to your terminal, paste this link, and it will add it. It has been added, the repo has been added. So let's see if we can list the repo here. So we just run this command helm repo add right now. Let's go ahead and see Helm repo list, if we can get something out of it. So Helm repo list, and see now these are like this, my Helm which is on my machine has like three charts. This Kyverno, if you have followed the Kyverno tutorial, you know that we have used Helm to install Kyverno on our Kubernetes cluster to enforce policy management. And Prometheus is there, which video will be coming very soon on the same channel. So if you want, you can subscribe to the channel and give like to this video if you want. That really helps the channel, and Prometheus video will be coming really soon, so that will keep you updated to it. And now we have added this repo to it, so you can see the location and stuff for this chart. So now it is to our local machine, it's still not on our cluster. Cool. So let's go ahead and add it to our cluster. So now what we'll do is we will just put this thing Helm install to our cluster. Okay, okay, this is deployed. See, it is deployed, and now we will be able to list it. So Helm list and see. Now there is like, okay, let me just put it like this. So because it's uh, pretty much, yep. So now you can see when we Helm list, there is my release that we used here up in the commands. Let me just show you that super geek. See, my release, what you have to call it during your when it is in your cluster, and then it goes ahead updated and status is deployed. Chart is Mongo Express chart we are using here. So that's all about it. Now you have Mongo a Mongo Express running on your Kubernetes cluster, and you can use it and link it with application, and it will run as if you have created the files on your own. So that's how the package management and Helm works in general. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think about this video in the comments below, and we will see you soon with very amazing video in the future. So stay tuned with the channel, and see you in the next one. Bye.